So good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with Lee Owens from Float Planet. And Lee, I would love for you to just start out with how you got started doing what you do.
Well, yeah, it wasn't my idea for the start. It was my business partner's idea, Michael.
Yeah.
Me personally, I was a kitchen designer,
Okay.
just about to start my own kitchen company.
Mm.
And Michael's a friend. I've known him we grew up on the same estate basically. And we kept bumping into each other around the time that we were both looking to, get out of our old jobs and start going down the business route. And he'd had the idea for about 3 or 4 years about opening a float centre in Liverpool. He'd been and floated in Amsterdam, and he had a little bit of the way he got into it was he had a bad back and he had a float, and then straight away when he come out he had more range of movements, felt a lot more relaxed, the pain had reduced. So then that set his little triggers off then of coming home and thinking, where can we do it in England? And there wasn't many places to do it. There was one in Manchester, I think one in London at the time.
Mm.
And then we just kept bumping into each other then. He was working in Jaguar at the time and I was doing the kitchens, and we just kept having, like these quite self-development, like mindset little mastermind meetings in cafes around Liverpool. And he just sort of asked me, did I want to help out? And yeah, my whole life pivoted from being a kitchen designer and going into kitchens to flotation therapy. And I went into it then with him 50-50, and that's the history of it.
Wow. And in terms of the people that come to you, or the people that you kind of gear flotation therapy towards, who are your main clients, your main customers?
You know what, a difficult question, Anna. It's we get that asked that all the time, and everyone always says you should have your target market, who you're pinpointing at, but like it really is for everyone. It's like you've got to be 16 plus to float, but the amount of people that come through, different ages and for different reasons, it's like the demographics like quite big, because you've got like a lot of young people now who are coming through who are listening to the likes of Joe Rogan, who he's like he promotes.
Yeah, my friend Ben did it and he was raving about it. It was like quite a while ago, like as in 2 years ago. He was just going on about it and I was like, this sounds mad.
Yeah. Well, Joe Rogan speaks about it a lot, and obviously a lot of young lads, a lot of young men especially, listen to Joe Rogan. That's where we first heard about it as well. So we've got a lot of young people listening to that type of stuff, and then you've got like the health and well-being people, and you've got the yogi people, and you've got older people who are suffering with like, fibromyalgia and arthritis who are coming in to use it. So
Wow.
it's like, it really is for everyone,
I mean, yeah, amazing. Could you talk us through a flotation therapy session? What does it look like if someone comes and visits you at Float Planet?
Yeah, so you come through the door. So it's on Dale Street in the middle of the city centre, big mad busy road, and it's really chaotic outside. And then you come through the doors and it's really relaxed and calm. There's nice music playing. You get greeted by a float guide. You then get taken into your room, so you get your own float room with your own tank, your shower area and a changing area. And you spend an hour floating in the tank. You get a nice shower afterwards. There's hairdryer facilities. And then afterwards, so your journey while you're in the centre, it's probably 90 minutes to 2 hours. So you obviously would spend an hour in the tank. Then we provide them a chill out area for afterwards. So there's a nice chill out area with some bean bags and some complimentary herbal tea, some filtered water, some nice books to read. But a lot of people come and they just come for the float. They get in the tank and they float for the hour. And as soon as they get out, they think it's over. They think, oh, yeah, well, now it's the experience is over. That's the therapy. But the chill out area is like, it really is part of the experience as well. It's sort of giving yourself that little 10-15 minutes just to process what's just happened, because it's like, because you know what it's like yourself, how fast the world is now.
Yeah,
on the phones, the world's so quick, and it's like when you're in the float tank and you're floating and you just sort of, you're weightless and it's so quiet. We're not used to it, and the nervous system, it gets a nice, it gives the nervous system a nice break really. And when you come out, it's a bit of a shock to the system and you go straight back into the normal world, because you've sort of locked yourself away. Like, it's like proper solitude for an hour, and then you just come back into the world and you're a little bit like, it takes a little like 5 to 10 minutes to just sort of process it and just allow the relaxations to just flood over you.
Wow, it's a bit like the savasana at the end of a yoga session when they encourage you to just lie there, isn't it? And just lie there and just kind of take it in. I know so many people, and I'm guilty of this myself, just just say namaste and get up and get it over with.
Yeah.
But they really talk about how that part is really genuinely also part of the practice, to let everything flow through your body and for you to just kind of settle. Sounds fascinating, really. In terms of the health benefits of flotation therapy, what are they? What are the main health benefits from that?
Well, it's total relaxation and meditation. You know, you're not going to get an hour like that anywhere else in the world. You know, the water's the same temperature as your skin.
Ah.
You float naked, so the water's the same temperature as your body. So once you settle in the water, you can't tell the difference between the water and your body. You know,
Wow.
so it's like it's a relaxation that you just can never. Even when you go and do meditation and stuff, and you're sitting there, you always feel the weight of your body, or you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But when you're floating, your body's completely weightless. There's no pressure, you know. So it's really comfortable. It's proven to reduce stress and anxiety, which is like it's quite good these days. You know, everyone's stressed and full of anxiety with the way the work-life balance is now. It can help improve sleep as well, and obviously it helps relieve physical pain. You know, how we got into it with Michael, my business partner. He was suffering with his back, and he went in there after one float and was, you know, not pain free, but had more range of movement and could feel like the benefits.
Amazing. I want to kind of turn the questioning now to a bit more about your business journey and how things have kind of developed since you and Michael basically decided to start Float Planet. What have been the biggest learnings for you, both personally and professionally, since starting the business?
The biggest learnings in business.
Yeah.
What I learned, I think, is that everyone's winging it. You know, I think when you're a bit younger, I mean, this is my first business, and you sort of, when you're looking up to like the types of people you look up to who've got businesses or are successful, you sort of put them on a pedestal and you think that they've figured it all out. It's like you've sussed it out, they've completed it. And it's a bit like when you're a kid and you think when you grow up you'll know everything, and you grow up to then you're looking at the adults and you're thinking actually no one knows, I haven't got a clue what's going on here. And I think that's the same. I think that's the same in business. I think like a lot of people will say to me now, just because Float Planet's got a bit of attention, it's got a decent social media, and it's constant, and it you know, and they'll say stuff like, "Oh, Float Planet's doing good, it's flying, isn't it?" And it's like, but behind the curtain, you think it doesn't feel like that. It's a pure external effect that it has on people, I think. And I think that's one thing I have learned, is that, you know, the people who I speak to who are in business like around the same period as us, like the last 5 years, everyone's just winging it. It's just everyone's just doing the best. You know, there's no magic formula. It's not like you need these big crazy ideas, or it's just, you know, putting one foot in front of the other every day and showing up basically. Yeah.
I think that's so interesting, but also it just goes to show that sometimes the most poignant things of life about learning and your journey and stuff can be the most simple. It doesn't have to be this mad complicated thing to get your head round, or you have to do like 5 different routines every day to get where you want to go. It's just, yeah, it's quite a simple solution, but maybe sometimes that's what trips people up. They're like, what the hell, like this is just it. But I think maybe, like you said, it's about showing up, that consistency, that dedication, and just the willingness to just, yeah, like you said, put one foot in front of the other. It's great to hear that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, probably 80% of it is just showing up and like, yeah,
I mean, that's definitely in the same vein of like, in terms of advice for young people, for sure. But do you have any, if you could go back and like talk to yourself as you were starting the business, what advice would you give yourself?
As a young person?
As a young person, but also when you were just about to start off.
Do you mean this, sorry, from like just personal or just business related? Was it a bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both. Anything that you think would have really kind of helped you along your business journey. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be yourself, you know, just impress yourself and be yourself. I think it's like, and I think we all get caught up, especially I was definitely guilty of it when I was younger, trying to impress the wrong people, the wrong crowds for the wrong reasons, and doing things that weren't really aligned with my values. And it's like, you know, my advice to the young version of me would be just be yourself. Like, impress yourself, forget about anything else. And I think that's, I think that would help a lot of young people, I think, because I think that, especially social media, I don't envy the young 18-year-old people now with social media and the comparison that you can just compare your life to 1,000 people in a split second, and it's not healthy if you haven't got the right mindset of the way you're looking at it. So it's, I think, be yourself. I think no one can be you. That's the thing. No one in the world can be me, and no one can be you. And so just be the best version of you.
Yeah, brilliant.
That would be my advice to myself.
Definitely.
That's my advice to my kids. Do you know what I mean? So I tell my kids this. That's like, I want my kids to be the best version of themselves. So it's they're my biggest teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the biggest issues that you've overcome in the last 5 years, what would you say those are?
Definitely in business, obviously, it's the obvious one, isn't it? It's the lockdowns. That still hurts today. You know, that hasn't gone away. It's not only the effect on the business, but the effect on the customers who've changed the habits, who, you know, worried about moving around in certain places, and, you know, and then everything else that's going on in the world right now as well. It's, you know, it's tough times, isn't it? But definitely the lockdown, overcoming the lockdown was tough. Just getting told to close your shop, and then, you know, McDonald's being open is hard to swallow. You know, that's a tough one to swallow, and it's like it didn't make any logical sense to me. It was, you know, close everywhere or nowhere. Like, it was tough. That was a tough one to take on the chin, because everyone was so divided, wasn't it? It was tough. It was like, especially being a business owner, you know, I know when I was a kitchen designer and I worked for other companies, if I got offered furlough, I'd be made up. Holiday time, 80% pay. I know everyone's not like that, but I mean, on the other side of it, the flip side of it was all the owners and directors who didn't get any furlough, who were running businesses, who were just, it was like, that was the small percentage of people. And it was just fascinating watching it all, but also tough at the same time, because you're trying to digest all this new. We've never lived through anything like this, have we? So it's like, you're trying to grow your business, and then also trying to figure out what's going on in society. Why are we, you know what I mean? What's happening? That was,
as well.
What was that? Sorry.
It was like its priorities. It showed. I mean, the government's priorities, what people prioritized, for sure. And like, the split was never going to be even. But I think it was shocking because, like you said, we've never experienced anything, but it highlighted many, many different areas. But specifically, I think, number one, business owners, for sure, definitely in the business sector, and your guys' experience. Obviously, the care companies and the NHS, you know, but these particular pockets of society were highlighted like never before. And yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't imagine how challenging it must have been for you guys. But in terms of any positives that came out of that challenging experience, did you notice anything positive change?
I have done with customers who've come back to the centre, yeah. You know, COVID wasn't all bad. It did help people change a few of the habits. You know, everyone was sort of changing the spending habits. They were thinking more about themselves. They were going for walks. No one went for walks. Everyone was going for walks, and I know how powerful walks are. You know, sometimes all you need is a walk, just to literally get yourself back to feeling good again. You know, it's the simple things. And I think people started to walk. People started to spend the money differently. You know, they were buying material things that wasn't necessary, like clothes. And I mean, a few customers actually said to me, "I don't even buy any clothes anymore." Because you just realise in lockdown, it's not important. It's not like it's not important to have, you know, 25 t-shirts hanging up in the cupboard. It's not like, so for me, they were the positives I seen, you know what I mean, where people are starting to like change their life, but for the better, you know, because obviously all the nightclubs and the pubs were shut, weren't they? So it was like, you know what I mean. But the sad part of that as well is that not a lot of people had good environments while they were locked down, and they didn't have the good support systems in place, and it must have been really hard. You know,
Mm.
if some people have only got the workplace and they go home and they're on their own in flat or the house, and it's like that's the horrible side to it all. You know.
Definitely, definitely. And I do think it highlighted so many things, like the amount of people that broke up during lockdown, but the amount of people that decided to change their career path, the amount of people that found a new hobby. I think it highlighted, it put the spotlight on things, good or bad. It put the spotlight on things that were usually kind of overlooked within the stresses and the busyness of everyday life. And that was what I found so fascinating. Like, I could see it with every single person, every single business owner that I speak to now. There is an area of their business or their life that COVID highlighted, and it's the same for every single person. I find that fascinating. When the world is shut down, it's like, where's the spotlight going to go? It was just very, very interesting to see. And I mean, in terms of everybody who built new habits and returned to Float Planet, do you think there was a certain loyalty about that kind of encouraged you guys to keep going?
Do you mean loyalty on our part, or do you mean the customers? Sorry, do
Customers.
you mean customers coming back?
Mm.
It's a lovely service, you know.
Mm.
We had customers begging us to open the shop while we were locked down,
Mm.
because a lot of people use it for stress and anxiety.
Of course,
And
yeah.
it's like, you know, they've got busy lives, and they don't want to take medication anymore. They want to come and float and feel the benefits of what floating has, and just like Float Planet is the real isolation in the world. Do you know what I mean? You know, the way like we had all this like, you know, don't go in social distancing and stuff. Like that's the way Float Planet's always been. You go in there, you get your own room, it's very clean, you get your own little place in the chill out area, and that's proper isolation, but like done in the proper way, where obviously the way the government had us doing it, it was horrendous. You know what I mean? You can't do this, you can't do that. But so I think that like the customers were just like, yeah, they were dying for us to get it back open. Some of them were going to the doctors and asking the doctors to be prescribed a float.
Wow.
Because obviously they felt so stressed and anxious, and they wanted to get in there, and when they're in there, it gets them into that meditative state where it helps them. Sort of, you know, it gives you clarity. It helps you get rid of the fog or the silly thoughts that you might have. It just gives you that space to just be on your own, like literally for an hour on your own, doing nothing.
It sounds unreal.
It is. It's like it's the proper. It's like I think the relaxation in this day and age is sitting on your phone, scrolling Twitter or Instagram, and coffee in your hand. And
Yeah,
your nervous system's getting absolutely hijacked from
that's so true.
scrolling, from the coffee that's stimulating you. And it's
Mm.
like, and I've been guilty of it myself. You know, you think, oh, I've got 30 minutes here, I'm just going to go on my phone and have a coffee or put the kettle on. And it's like, I think we've all forgotten to properly relax, because the
Yeah.
world's so fast. We get everything, everything's at the flip of a switch now. We've got access to so much stuff, which is great. But you've got to look after yourself. You've got to protect you.
Yeah, that balance is so important for sure. What does the future look like, and what do you see as the main challenges for yourselves moving forwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think the future's bright for the industry that we're in, because obviously there's young people now talking about self-care. You know, the information's all out there. You know, you've just got to have a little bit of curiosity, or you know, I think there's a lot of good mentors and role models now, even in social media, who are all promoting good, healthy lifestyles. It's all about lifestyle now. It's not, you know, I thinking like, by the time I'm a granddad, my grandkids will probably say, oh, "Granddad, did you used to drink alcohol?" Like, that's the way I hope it's going that way. You know, where it's like, it's sort of a bit like smoking, sort of gets in that way gets sort of faded out. It's like, so I think everyone is starting to look after themselves a lot better. It's, you know, even what they're eating.
Definitely.
So it's like, the biggest challenge is obviously lockdown. That's the doubt. That's the thing that you keep seeing in the news all the time. It's monkeypox. It's this. It's all this. And you think, because of the way obviously what happened last time, you think they only have to click the fingers and it'll all just shut down again. So that is really the only thing that like bothers me. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't think about it, but I just think, when I'm thinking about opening other centres, I just think the only problem that we'll have is if the government in the winter time and people start getting the flu again and colds, they'll just shut the world down. That's it's scary if you think about it, but I hope we're past that now. But
You have a very unique take on it. I've spoken to a lot of business owners, and a guy that I spoke to earlier this afternoon, he was talking about he was offering security services for construction sites, and obviously even though construction site, they just kind of, they stopped, everyone had to go home, whatever, they were furloughed. The construction sites still needed security, so their services they didn't suffer so much, and it was a different take on it. But and other business owners have kind of had a unique thing, but because of the nature of your service and the therapy that you guys provide, I think, yeah, it is probably one of the most severe cases of how lockdown affected a business, which is fascinating. But also, I mean, I just feel like you guys are so unique, and it's in what you offer already. Of course, your experience with COVID was going to be totally unique as well. But I mean, I just think that's the whole thing that you guys offer is so new. It's so refreshing. It's so interesting. I mean, before my friend Ben mentioned you guys, I had no idea. He had to fully explain it, and I was like, "What do you mean? You just sit in a tank?" And I was like, you're not scared that you're gonna like suffocate or drown or something? Can anyone hear you? Like, what? That's so insane. He was like, no, you don't understand. It's so good. And I was like, okay. It did take me some time to get around it though, but no, it sounds amazing. And you guys are clearly making such positive impacts in people's lives. I'm just conscious of time now. But in terms of how people can contact you or anything you'd like to offer to anybody, or mention to anybody about Float Planet, yeah, just take a minute to tell us that now.
yeah, I mean, we've got all the social media platforms. So we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok now as well for all the. Well, it used to be kids on there now, but I think it's actually we're all using TikTok now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you can find us. We've got a website as well, which is www.floatplanet.co.uk. Yeah, and obviously we can. Does this go out to all the? Obviously, you wanted this. There was a question about an offer that we could do.
Yeah, any offers you'd like to include in the newsletter as well?
Yeah, so obviously for the people who read the newsletter, we're going to create a promo code called Action Coach.
Oh, amazing.
And that'll be 25% off your first float.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. I will include all the details for everybody who wants to get in touch with Float Planet and potentially book their first float and experience the insaneness of just being truly by yourself, isolated in a perfect environment with yourself for an hour. Thank you.
You have got to do a little side note is like you've just got to get your first float out the way. Like anything in the world, it's like anything that you've never done before, you will just naturally have these little doubts, or like the way you were talking before about suffocating and being claustrophobic. It's like
yeah,
everyone. It's very common. It's like because it's something. But I promise you, once you get into the centre and you see the tanks, and then you experience your first float, the second float and the third float are a completely different experience, because the next time you go, your mindset's completely different. You turn up a little bit more relaxed because you know what to expect. It's just you've just got to get in and get that first one out the way. And most people have a really great first float anyway, but it's just for people who are thinking, you've got to get in and then get in again, just to sort of dive into it a bit deeper.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, Lee. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said before, I will include all of it, especially the promo code for our newsletter, for all of our readers and watchers watching. Thank you very much for spending time with us and Lee today. But yeah, we'll speak to you soon, Lee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Anna.